Hello and welcome to UC Today. My name's David Dungay. Today I'm here with Robyn Erkelens, Business Development Executive from New Era. Robyn, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hello, David. I'm great. I'm happy to be here.
Well, I'm happy here as well. Today we're going to be talking about workplace transformations. Now, we see this across the globe right now. The return to work trend is driving transformations within businesses, partly to attract those people back into the office, but partly because those needs to get work done have changed significantly over the last few years. Robyn, I'm really excited for this conversation, but before we get into the questions, would you like to give us a bit of an introduction to yourself and the business?
My name is Robyn Erkelens. I'm based out of DC. My background is actually in design thinking and experience design. I've worked for both experience companies, advertising agencies, startups, and big tech firms throughout my career working on innovation and how those innovations really come to life through that end user experience. I joined New Era just a few months ago at the beginning of the year. Partly because of the fact that they really bring together all of the technology components required to deliver transformation. We have been around for about 28 years. Um, and we're a global company. We're in 130 countries around the globe. And we have deep expertise in so many different areas from IT, cloud, data, application development, all the way through AV, unified communications, of course, digital signage, and physical security. And that really sets the table for creating the kinds of spaces, integrating the kinds of technologies that are really transforming how people experience work, how people experience connected environments.
Great. So let's move on to that first question then. First of all, maybe we should define, the big bang approach to modernising the workplace. First of all, what is that big bang approach? And second of all, why has it not necessarily worked for enterprises so far?
The Big Bang approach is really when corporations take on, let's call it boiling the ocean. They want to transform the work experience, and that includes platforms, that includes the physical space, that includes the infrastructure and everything that comes along with it, including security through data management, and it really creates a lot of risk. There are some instances where it's justified when you're doing a big new build, but ultimately you're just creating a lot of risk by taking on all of those components at once. We take a smaller approach, de-risking kind of that process where we start out small. We look at the whole environment. We look at the outcomes our customers are really trying to enable. What kind of experiences are they trying to create for their workers? How does it support the culture? And what kinds of technologies need to be in place to do that? And then we kind of take those smallest components and tackle those one by one. That allows us to optimize as we go, pilot, and then scale. So you're really de-risking that process.
Maybe we could talk about the those incremental steps. Then, what are those steps that organizations can really take to modernize effectively?
That's a very good question, and the answer, unfortunately, is it depends. We put the categories in really three buckets. One is modernizing the infrastructure. That's paramount to most of these projects, but it can be done incrementally as well. The next is simplifying operations. How do you really reallocate resources, simplify your platforms, your management in order to really put that value in different areas? And then the third is transformation. And in each one of those categories, you can start in each one of those categories first, but it also in each one of those categories, you can break it down into smaller components. So, if you need to, start with the even the cabling or a new physical security system or access control. That could be one component of where you start small. You could start with IT field services. Is there an approach where you can simplify operations by offloading more of that management and simplifying that process? Or third, are there incremental approaches to adopting AI, and how do you integrate the systems required and the data required to do an AI project effectively?
You mentioned quite a few different technologies there, Robin. Maybe let's hone in on a couple. I mean, maybe some specific technologies like collaboration or smart building tech. How do these contribute to not just that employee productivity, but also maybe those ESG goals as well?
Well, what we're finding is, and it's probably been known for a long time, but it's a holistic ecosystem. You can't affect one system without affecting the other system. Building technology affects how employees experience the environment. Therefore, it affects productivity. So if you really isolate each one of those into different silos, you're missing a really great opportunity to affect change across multiple business units and really get more ROI out of those investments. So let's tackle the smart building technology first. It's IoT, it's integrating the OT, the building management systems, the lighting, the obviously HVAC, in order to create more energy efficiency. But when you integrate things like your unified communications platforms, like different IoT around occupancy that they use for meeting and collaboration spaces, when you incorporate some of those technologies around guest management or access control or even video security, now you get a holistic picture. You get more actionable data for both sides of the house, because ultimately these technologies don't just affect an employee trying to collaborate either in the same space or globally, but it affects HR, it affects the sustainability manager, it affects the finance department, it really touches almost every business unit. So when you can integrate all those different data points and all those different platforms, you're really creating ROI across the organization.
So, Robin, so within this kind of holistic approach, where there's really a lot of things to consider there. Although you're advocating a kind of incremental step by step process, but obviously there is some investment needed by businesses to kind of make this modernization happen. In terms of return on that investment, how can enterprises really ensure that those investments really pay for themselves?
The first is, we'll say, through AI or through smart building technology. The ESG goals that we're seeing when we apply smart building technology is between 17 and 20% in some cases, really paying for that implementation. And that really sets the groundwork for understanding what technology is in the building, how it's interacting, the kind of correlation between technology, so that you can fine tune. And that includes those workplace technologies like smart lighting, like smart conference room spaces. So really starting with that small implementation of a smart building automation platform allows us to then set the standard, start with being more efficient with energy use and with the space, and really create more and more integrations in a smarter and smarter building as we go.
Robin, I'm really, really fascinated by your experience design experience, if you like. Obviously, there's a lot there that you bring to the table, and I'm interested in what role is experience design really playing in making these workplaces not just attractive but also productive at the same time.
It's the foundation. If we take the human out of the experience, we're not going to get people back into the office. We know that I think there was a Gensler report stating almost 70% of workers find benefit in getting back to the office. They want to collaborate with their colleagues. They want a more a sense of belonging more. So we need to create the spaces and the experiences to do that. We need to obfuscate technology where we can, and that's through those integrations. So when you start with that end experience in mind, then you can apply the technology, make sure those integrations happen effectively along the way. But you always want to start with that end in mind. And that also goes for the AI projects that we're doing. We find that when you start with that end user, the person that has to do the repetitive task that they're trying to gain more efficiency around, you have a lot better chance of success in implementing that process, that AI technology, because now you're getting that firsthand experience. So starting with that end objective, starting with that end user is really the way that you get success in any kind of technology implementation, and understanding how they're going to use that technology.
So, Robyn, we're coming towards the end of the conversation, but before we go, I mean, I think we should talk about New Era and how you're really supporting some of this workplace transformation that you're talking about. But particularly, where should enterprises focus their attention to really get the most out of this sort of transitionary phase we all find ourselves in?
Great question. And the answer is in a lot of different places. It really depends on the organization where they are. We would start in a different place if somebody were doing a new build. We're going to start in a different space if they're looking to simplify operations. And we might start with where we might start with IT field services, for example, really allowing more of that IT focus to go towards innovation. So I'll touch on a couple of different areas where we're really working with customers in this space. The first is through the unified communication tools and audiovisual. It's in connecting that physical environment with that digital environment. We're a Microsoft Gold partner, which means that we can really work across there's six pillars to implement those technologies. And we've been in that business for a very long time. So just enabling the unified communications, enabling those physical spaces is one area. And that includes now smart building technology. How can we improve those ESG goals, improve the efficiency, and get ROI on day one from the energy savings that we're getting? And that leads into really creating even more opportunity to lay the groundwork for AI-driven experiences within that space as well. So when you're connecting the building itself through IoT, through the BMS, through the HVAC systems, you're gaining a lot of this information around how the space is used, how workers move throughout the space, which informs how you design the space, how you design the technology for the space, and get a lot smarter around how your employees are using the technology as well. And those two systems or platforms really become interdependent and smarter, and you're getting that compounding ROI by implementing both. So you can start with the smart building technology that really pays for itself. You can start with the experiential or the collaboration platform. You could start with improving your AV experience. We know noise continues to be a problem in physical spaces. People are looking more and more toward lighting to reduce eye strain, to improve the work experience with things like circadian lighting. So really, depending on your organization's goals, there are a lot of different places that you can enter, and it could be data and data improvement as well, making sure that you're setting yourself up for future success by the data management policies, the data governance policies, and security as well. And the last place I'll mention is through AI. We're getting a lot of requests to help our customers implement AI or build AI programs. And that I'll give you one example of how we're doing that. We're working with the University of Indiana School of Medicine. They really wanted to understand how to best apply AI in their field. They look at a lot of different data. It's a very manual process in a lot of cases, and they didn't know where to start. They have proprietary data that really needed to be locked down. So we started with Microsoft Copilot. We integrated the instance of Copilot. We trained their team on that and helped them create that program around how they use the tool, how they integrate the tool, and how they expand the program to get people outside of the School of Medicine to start building their own AI agents. So you can start with a small project, gain success, gain knowledge, and really start growing on that from there. And we can help develop those platforms, we can help develop those applications, or we can help you train your own staff to do it internally as well.
I mean, there's lots and lots there for businesses to consider, but yeah, very exciting. Robyn, thank you so much for joining me and sharing some of your insights.
Thank you, David. It's been a pleasure.
And thank you for watching. You've been watching me, David Dungay, on UC Today. If you enjoyed today's conversation, please give us a like and a share on social media. That's it from me. See you next time.